staying private and confidential, so you don't have to worry about the information being shared with another party, because I'm in private practice, so I have nobody else will have access to my case notes. All right, but of course that has some limitations as well. Okay, for example, if your safety is concerned, your safety is compromised, you're at risk of harming yourself, then it will be necessary for me to disclose that information to somebody who can support you better out. It can be your next of kin or a trusted adult. Okay? Yeah. In the second scenario would be in case that if you report to me, or if I get to know that there's some sort of abuse that's going on with a minor, or say an elderly, or any vulnerable adult, then I'm also under obligation to report it to protect the interests of the party. All right? Okay. And, in the case where I'm subpoenaed by court of law to be a witness,
Right.
or, the case note is being subpoenaed to be part of the evidence, then again, I would have to disclose those information.
Okay.
All right? But of course, I wouldn't just disclose the information like that. We'll discuss about it. I'll let you know beforehand what is the best way to disclose the information so that you'll feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And because I'm in private practice, I do have a clinical supervisor. All right? And sometimes we discuss cases, but rest assured that your name will not be mentioned. All right? And there will be nothing to identify you as the client discussed. It's purely for me to improve on my skills. All right? Okay, good. Glad to get that out of the way. So maybe now, do you have any questions that you would like to ask me, or do you feel that, because I noticed that you're fiddling around with your necklace, so I'm not sure whether you are a little bit anxious about this, or are you feeling okay?
Usually I don't do well under new circumstances and new surroundings. So I do tend to
see.
be a bit anxious, but seeing as I've gone through different therapies, different counselors, I do try to find my own ways to handle it.
I see. Okay. So let me know then if any point in time you kind of need a break, or you feel that this is a little bit too intense and you want to kind of regulate a little bit first before we continue, okay?
All right.
It's entirely your pace.
Sure.
Okay. So maybe you'd like to first start with whatever that you feel comfortable sharing with me, what brought you here today.
Actually, what brought me here today? One of the issues I had discussed that me and my previous therapist were working on before she for other agency was I was telling her about how I felt being compared to. Felt being compared to my other siblings.
I see. Okay.
I have an older sister who does very well in her studies, and I currently also have a younger brother who is still studying in his secondary. So
I see.
my parents use me and my older sister as comparisons for my brother who is still studying. So this way I feel very compared to, and I don't feel very good about it.
Okay. So sounds like your parents have been comparing the three of you, using your elder sister and you as examples to kind of motivate your younger brother academically?
Yes.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't also say it's academically only, but majority is academically. But there are certain things also that they restrict my sister and they restrict more on me as well, which I find it not fair. Yeah. So such as timings, going out with friends. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you help me understand a little bit about the restriction, as in under what kind of circumstances will you stop from doing certain things, or how does it work? Tisha, you froze. Sorry, Letitia, you froze for a bit. So for the last 5 seconds, I have no idea what happened. This was setting up, restricting your elder sister as well as you. It doesn't sound like your younger brother was affected though.
Actually, my younger brother has a mental condition, so I would think because of the mental conditions, they are being more lenient with him.
I see. Okay.
Because they're being much more lenient with him. Me and my sister do find it a bit unfair.
I see. Okay. So
us. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot of restrictions that it's not quite the same for your younger brother. They treat him a little bit differently, a lot more lenient, and you see it as unfair.
Yes, correct.
Am I right? Yeah. Okay. Can you help me understand? Maybe elaborate a little bit about what kind of day in day out restrictions that kind of affected you? Quite conscious of it.
I would say one of them would be curfew timings. So at the age of 16, my older sister had a curfew of, let's say, maybe 8 p.m., 9 p.m. However, I was having a curfew of 6 p.m. and I was allowed to go out with friends as well. So I found that quite unfair as well. Seeing as the age difference also wasn't a big gap. Many of the times I would want to retaliate to my parents about this issue, but I find myself hesitant.
Okay. So you were not allowed to go out with friends, or you're not allowed to go out with friends until beyond 6 o'clock?
I had to be home by 6 o'clock, whether it was for any school activities or it was going out with friends.
Okay. And you mentioned retaliate. So I guess there must be quite a lot of frustration and anger with regards to this kind of injustice done on you, that you can't even have the freedom despite the small age gap between you and your older sister, right? So what kind of retaliation did you do? I mean, what do you consider as retaliation?
Instead of trying to argue with my parents verbally, I tried to show them that they could trust me. I tried to earn their trust more. So like, if I had to go out, I will inform them what I'll be doing. I'll be more in detail of where I'll be going or any events I'll have to go. I also tried to do well in school as well, seeing as maybe my academics might give me a boost in like their thinking of extending schools. Yeah. So those are the things I tried to do instead of trying not to argue with them.
I see. That hardly sounds like retaliation though. It sounds like you're being very responsible as well as trying your best to gain the trust from your parents. It sounds quite authentically effective as well, isn't it?
Even it does sound authentic, it does sound like a responsible being. However, even when I was doing all these things, my parents were still not putting the trust in me, and they were still relying on my older sister to watch over me as well.
I see. Okay. So despite all the efforts that you put in, it's still very difficult for your parents to have enough trust that you are able to take care of yourself, you'll be responsible out there. Okay. So what did your older sister have to do to kind of watch over you?
So as I said, so it may seem as if I'm a responsible being, the actions I do. However, my parents still trust my sister to watch over me still, and still me enough.
Okay. Yeah. That must have frustrated you a lot.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
However, I do to compromise and think, they just want the best for me. They just care for me. Yeah, I do try to think like that, but after some time, it builds up in me. So it's quite frustrating for me.
Yeah, most definitely, right? Despite your effort and it sounds like you do try to take their perspective into consideration as well, right? And yet, still seems like they rely heavily on your elder sister to ensure that you are safe.
Yeah.
What exactly did your elder sister have to do to keep you safe?
Mostly she would pick me up from school as we lived quite nearby. She would
Okay.
also settle our meals as well. If I was home alone because of my brother's condition was quite severe, so my parents needed him. So it was only at home. So she would mostly be the one looking after me.
Right.
And if
Okay.
she had, then she would have to cancel as well. So it was also quite frustrating for her lah.
Definitely sounds like the two of you kind of like got very affected because of all the scheduling that your parents had to make to take care of a younger brother. A lot of sacrifice on both of you. So, yeah. Can I check on you whether how's your relationship with your sister? Because it sounds more like a caregiver than a sister.
Right. When we were younger, we were very close. We would like talk to each other about everything. Maybe even a weekly session, just talk about things. But as time went by and she got older, she focused on studies and academics instead of her family. So we slowly started to distance ourselves.
I see. Okay. So with maybe we take a pause here. So you experienced quite a bit of control from your parents in the sense that they are asking your sister to take care of you, and you have a younger brother who needs a little bit more attention from them. All right. So whatever you've shared so far, can I understand a little bit about if this session is to work out for you, what would it look like for you? I mean, what would you like to do, or what would you like to work on?
I would like to work on maybe how I can trust maybe some method I could trust my parents, like to get them to trust me, or maybe how I might even be able to build my relationship with my sister.
I see. Okay, so basically two things. One is to kind of help your parents have a little bit more confidence in you, a lot more trust in you, so that you can exercise some autonomy and go out and explore and do your things independently. At the same time, you would like to kind of have a little bit of reconciliation or some sort of relationship you can have with your sister again.
Yes, correct.
I see. Okay. So sounds like this is something that you have been actively thinking for quite a long time.
I have been actually been thinking about it for quite a while. However, I actually have talked to my friends about it, maybe get their advice on what I should. However, I always thought that a professional would be a better choice.
I see. So you would like to maybe gain a little bit of clarity from another perspective, from a professional perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So maybe you would like to, share with me a little bit about, after thinking so much about it over the years, what actually have you tried before to, gain your parents' trust? Apart from what you said, doing well academically and all, what have you done to cope with this, or how did you try to gain their trust?
Actually, currently I'm working, so me and my family's schedule doesn't really match. So what I try to match our schedules together. When I'm off, I try to spend more time with them and let them think that family is still very important to me. Even though I'm a working adult now, even though I'm working already, family still is very important to me. So I try to put that as a priority as well.
Okay. Are you still under the curfew 6 o'clock?
No, that was in the past. Now I have a curfew of 10 o'clock, but that's on days where I'm not working or I end my early, as I do shift work as well, night shifts as well.
So sounds like there is a little bit of improvement in terms of how much time or the time that you have to be at home for curfew.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about your sister? Over the years,
My sister definitely is still a bit unfair as she's able to stay up until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
She goes to her friend's house until quite late at night. However,
Okay.
I try to put it like I said, I try to be a bit understanding and say like, she has her own things to do. Okay, my parents will help her more because she did something. So
Actually, I was
yeah.
Actually, I was asking you, what have you actually tried to do, or have you thought about doing something to improve relationship between you and your sister?
Me and my sister, we don't really talk much.
Mm-hmm.
As the years went by, like I stated, she focused more a lot on her academics, and then she started to spend more time with her friends as well. So
Okay.
there wasn't much for me to bond
You
with
didn't
her.
have the opportunity.
Yeah, I couldn't
Okay.
really find the opportunity to bond with her. Or even the time we bond, it didn't feel like we really connected,
Right.
or it didn't
Okay.
feel any close to the past.
I see. Okay. So, how would being close and being connected look like for you?
Something similar to the past, so more like our physical contacts can come at very random times and we'll appreciate it. The activities we used to do back then also, we would like love and enjoy it. So now in recent times when we do spend bonding, the atmosphere is quite different. So it's an awkward, it's a strange atmosphere.
Okay.
It's not something you can get really like comfortable with and relax.
Okay. So you would like to spend more time with her, you want to engage in activities with her and feel generally comfortable with her presence.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So because of time, right? So I need to also check with you that between these two, right, your relationship with your sister and your parents' trust, so that you have more autonomy, more freedom, which one will be something that you feel more strongly about that you want to work on?
I would say sisters because
Okay.
Even if our parents were to pass away, the next
Mm-hmm.
person you have to rely on would be your siblings. And if my relationship with my sibling is not close,
Right.
how could I rely on them
Okay.
with any problems?
So sounds like it's really important for you to have a close relationship with your sister.
Yes.
Okay. So so this is what I think that we should focus on maybe in our next session. So far you told me about certain things that, growing up, your parents have certain restriction on you, and your sister has been the main caregiver for you over a period of time. But over the years, there's some, distancing. People, both of you are engaging in your own activities. You kind of drift apart. But you would like to kind of do something and to kind of repair the relationship and to be really close to her again. Right?
Yes.
So, do you think this is something that you want to focus on for our next session?
Yes, that'll be one of the. Yes, that'll be a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe we'll explore a little bit deeper into your relationship with her and maybe also think about what kind of strategies or what kind of things we can do to build a stronger relationship between you and your sister. Does that sound right for you?
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing such profound information with me, and hope that maybe in between before our next session, if any thoughts or anything comes up and you would like to discuss with me, you can drop it down as well, so that we can discuss in our next session. All right.
All right, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia.